As anyone with a functioning brain knows, this whole story with Prince Andrew supposedly being arrested for these crimes related to the Epstein files, obviously this is completely fake. The arrest is fake. He won't be doing any time in prison. Any type of trial will just be staged. And this is what they do, is they put up smoke screens to try and deceive the public into thinking that there's something is being done about these things and that these people are being held to account. What you've got to know also is that everyone in the royal family is involved in this. They're a criminal syndicate, of course, alongside the Rothschilds, the most powerful families in the world. And they all partake in these things. But putting up this smokescreen makes the people think that, some of these people are doing things to try to stop this. It's complete rubbish. They're all a part of these things. They're all Satanists, Luciferians. They're sick people. And you'll notice that in none of these stories is there any mention about Freemasonry, despite the fact that the royal family has long-standing, deep connections to Freemasonry, and all of the important males are Masons in the royal family. So again, there's going to be no talk about that in their controlled media, because they control all these stories that are being put out, and they tell the media what to put out. Of course, they use the MI5 and MI6 as a go-between to do that as well. And all you have to do is just utilize basic logic. I mean, they're trying to get you to believe that the same police that are supposedly breaking into people's houses and arresting people for social media posts are all of a sudden going to turn around and do something that's right and arrest one of these criminal pedos from these important families, these elite families. It's not going to happen. You know that because the Freemason police have been controlled by these families for years, right? So they control the police. There's no way the police are going to do anything like that. You don't have legitimate rule of law in these Fiveeyes countries, either controlled by the crown. And again, it comes back to the crown dictating to the media and to the controlling the police alongside the Rothschilds. And these are the people, obviously you see the symbol of the crown on all of the police cars. So there's no talk of Freemasonry's involvement in this, obviously, because the media has a gag when it comes to saying anything really negative about Freemasonry. Once in a while, they'll have one of their controlled Freemason shills like Sean Atwood or somebody like that, put together a podcast and bring on some other Mason cop to pretend that they're doing things about corruption in Masonry, and nothing ever happens. Nothing ever changes, and things just get worse. And so it's all lies, it's all deceit, and it's Lucifer's system of deceit and inversion. And again, these people are at the top. Their name isn't even Windsor. They changed their name, just like the Sinclair family, just like the Vanderbilt family, Anderson Cooper's family. And then they place these people into prominent positions as liars and to push the Luciferian propaganda. And that's what they do. There'll be no time in prison for this criminal at all. And it's all just to deceive the public. And all of these so-called Windsors are a part of this, and they all know what's going on, and they all partake in the same things. So let there be no doubt about that. They're also putting on this act that supposedly, William and Charles are disowning this guy. They're not disowning him at all. If you look at this, pictures you can find of William within the Royal Air Force, he's got pictures of the Baphomet, the androgynous goat that these psychopath, pedophile Freemasons have been worshipping all the way going back to their origins before with the Knights Templar. Okay, so they still hold Baphomet in veneration now, and that is where the whole agenda of changing children's genders comes from, through that and through, of course, the Kabbalah and Hermeticism. So they run smoke screens on that too by sending all these Freemason actors out on the street to pretend that they're concerned about that, but they won't talk about the roots of where it comes from. And that's the Kabbalah and, of course, the Baphomet that these criminal fiends hold in such veneration. You'll also notice lately, during the past maybe 5 or 6 years, they've been continually pushing this acronym, the GOAT, over and over again. And they'll tell you it's just the greatest of all time, but really it's just a normalization of fraud masonry's veneration of the Baphomet, because they have to do it through subconscious programming, because they're deceitful, devious criminals who can't come out and tell you what they really do. Everything has to be done through lying, deceit, and subconscious programming. So that's what that acronym is all about, the GOAT. But they'll tell you again, of course they're gonna have another story for it to say it's the greatest of all time. But it's just about normalizing saying the GOAT over and over again to show their veneration for the androgynous goat, the Baphomet. So you'll see very clearly there the Baphomet, the goat, pictured on William's uniform. And you know very well what he represents. And of course, there's going to be some psyop in the not too distant future, obviously, where Charles most likely either abdicates or whether they're going to fake a death or something like that. And then William will become the king. So we know that's coming. I mean, there's been a lot of programming that would lead us to believe that that's on the horizon as well. But again, he's got the Baphomet all over his uniform. He's a sick criminal, just like all these other people. They're not going to turn in their own family members when they control the media and the police and all these organizations. They're just going to use the media to run smoke screens to attempt to deceive the public into thinking that something is being done about these things. And of course, these Freemason fiends just love participating in these ridiculous acting skits where they, perform these roles on what they would call the world stage. Okay, let's be realistic. It's not a world stage. That's just Freemasonry's way of talking about Lucifer's system of deceit. And that's what it is. It's a system of lying, deceit, and corruption. And for them to justify it, they talk about it like, well, it's a world stage and we're all actors. No, we're not. You're liars. You raise your children to be liars. You raise your children to deceive. You're deceivers. You use the media to lie and deceive about literally everything. And then to justify it with yourself and with the other fiends who you control to do these things, you go around saying, well, all the world's a stage. It's a world stage. That's just an excuse for evil and lying and corruption and, trying to normalize it. So it's not a world stage. It's a system of deceit, corruption, and Masonic inversion. And it's Lucifer's system. Just like these deranged, psychotic Freemasons with the Kabbalah, where they'll tell you there's a dark and a light. Of course, there's a dark and a light. It doesn't mean that you have to embrace darkness and evil. That's what they're trying to say, that everyone has that within them, and it's nonsense. You choose your path. You choose the life you're going to live. You choose if you're going to do good or evil because God gave you free will. But the way they justify their evil acts is by saying this nonsense related with the Kabbalah, with the dark and the light, and this nonsense where everyone has the dark and the light within them. It's just rubbish that's made to justify evil acts and the sick, disgusting things that these criminals do. And that's all the Kabbalah is. It's just Satanism repackaged, and these criminal Masons in the police and all these important positions all practice this deranged, psychotic belief system. They have tattoos relating to the Kabbalah all over their bodies. They endorse the Baphomet, and that's why you see such prominence with the changing of the gender of children, with no one really speaking out about that, because they control all the opposition and they send out fake opposition to pretend to be against that while not speaking about the real source. And all of these things are promulgated in Masonic lodges, and they're insulated by these criminals in all of these important positions.